Hey, this is Christine, your DIY craftaholic. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if you are new, welcome to you as well. Now this is another month of 5 under 5, and this month we're doing Farmhouse Christmas. I'll talk a little bit more about that further on into the video, but let's get into DIY number 1. Now I had this framed canvas from Dollar Tree. As you can see, I've used it already, and so I decided to use it again. So here I'm just heating up and removing the glue and string. This is a free printable I downloaded from the internet last year to use in a DIY, but I didn't get to use it, so I thought I'd use it here. So I just placed it down on top of the frame, and I'm using my finger to just mark the area that I need to cut out. Then I applied some Mod Podge to the frame so that I can lay the paper on top of it. And then I laid the paper down and used the heat gun to reactivate the Mod Podge underneath so it can hold the paper together. And this is so simple. I found the canvas and I just decided to use it in this way, and I thought that the picture looked so perfect on top of it. And then I'm taking the Mod Podge roller and I'm just rolling it out to remove any bubbles that may be underneath. And then I'm using additional Mod Podge to seal the borders. And to get it to fold on the inside, I use my detail scissors and just snip the corner right there and fold it in. And I'll do that for all the sides. Now for the shorter sides, I had to make a corner, so I slit the ends, or slit the part that was lining up with the border, cut off the excess paper and fold that in. I'll just let you watch to see what I did here rather than me trying to explain to you what I did. And when I was done tucking in the ends or the corners, I just added some Mod Podge to the top, fold the paper in, and use the heat gun again to just reactivate the Mod Podge. And I did that to both sides. And now it's all done. I then just cut down the string for hanging and glue that back on. I have an additional piece of canvas. I cut off a few little squares and just use that to cover over the end of the string. And now we're done. I love it as it is, plain, simple. And now we're on to DIY number 2. This is a board I got from Dollar Tree in summer, and here I just removed the top of it. And I'm sanding down the edges. And after I sanded it down, here I have another or 2 other printout, and I'm trying to decide which one I wanted to use. I settled with the one with the pine cones. I then gave the board 2 coats of white Waverly chalk paint. And here I am trying to just outline where I need to cut, but rather than using the scissors, I decided to just tear the paper. So I'm tearing around it. And after I got it torn, here it is. I love it. I love how it just sits right on top of the white background. And then to give the top part a little design, or just so it doesn't look so plain, I decided to use some Waverly moss to outline 2 very slim or slender lines right along the top. And I did that. And now I'm ready to glue on the paper. But before I did that, I just took some of the same Waverly antique wax and outlined the edges of the paper just to distress it a little bit. And here I'm just lining it up on top of the board. This I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using the word family. I will be using this heat press in a little bit. But this, I purchased this from Amazon. This is not sponsored. But for those of you who are in the market for a heat press, I think that this would be a good buy. This cost me like $29 and tax. I will leave the link to this in my description box below. So if you are interested in getting this one, you can use that link. Now that's enough of my Aemego heat press. Let's get back to the DIY. So I applied some Mod Podge to the board. And of course, although I'll be using the heat press, you know you can't use the heat press on this. So I'm going to use the heat gun to just dry that a little bit and then place the paper on top of it. I then took a piece of parchment paper and the heat press, and I'm just pressing that down, reactivating the Mod Podge underneath, and that seals it so perfectly. Now I flipped it, and I'm now going to be applying the stencil. I got this from Dollar Tree, and I taped down the stencil. And here I'm just adding some Mod Podge to prevent bleeding. And this is something that CJ from CJ DIYs tell us all the time, to use Mod Podge to seal before we apply any paint, because that prevents the bleeding. And now I'm going in with some Waverly moss. I think the moss color kind of blends in with the pine cone leaves. So if you are new to my channel or coming over from the playlist, welcome. I'm so happy you joined me today. Here on my channel, I do DIYs on a budget, dupes, look for less, and some occasional Dollar Tree shopping hauls and thrift flips. If you love budget-friendly DIYs like these and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing and be sure to hit that notification bell. Hit it again and select all so YouTube notifies you whenever I upload new videos. And once that was done, I dried it a little bit, and here I am removing the stencil. And I'm using the stencil, but I didn't like this font that's on there, but that's the word I wanted on it, so it worked. So now I'm taking some of these mesh ribbons from Dollar Tree, and I cut 4 pieces, 2 from each color. And just so I could grab them evenly, I used some hot glue to just tack them down in the middle. And then the twine to just wrap around it. And again, the colors of the ribbon, I thought that these blended in so well with the stripes on the board and the leaves. I glued down 2 pieces of lamb's ear and then just glued the ribbon on top of it. And I had a little piece of burlap ribbon remaining, and I used that to make a small bow, but it was lying very flat. So I decided to use a little Mod Podge to fluff it a little bit so that it dries fluffed and not looking all bent out of shape. And then I glued that on in the middle. I flipped it over, made a small 4 hanging. And this is done. So like I mentioned, this is the 5 Under 5 DIY challenge that is hosted monthly by Missy from Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic. And this month's guest host is Krista from Krista's Crafty Life. And our theme this month is Farmhouse Christmas. But make sure you check out these ladies' channels. Visit my description box below and you'll find a link to their channels as well as the playlist. So now let's get back to DIY number 3. This is a wooden cutting board from Dollar Tree, and this one again is very simple. Now I got these beads, wooden beads from Woodpecker's Craft. These are the 3/4 inch size. And here I am just adding some wood glue from Dollar Tree as well as some hot glue, and I'm gluing those on, or for legs. And then I got this pack of napkin from Dollar General. And I'm going to be decoupaging this on top of the stand. I initially started or thought of just doing one end or both ends, And then I realized that no, that wouldn't have been exactly what I was going for, so I changed my mind. Here I'm just applying some Mod Podge onto the board. And then I'm going to use my heat gun to just dry that a little bit. And then place the napkin on top of it. And I want to get the napkin running on one side. So that is why I changed my mind with the initial design. And then to remove the inner part of the napkin, I used this skewer, just dipped it in some water, and I'm adding the water to the napkin so I can tear that part off. Now this is not going to be used to serve food, so I'm not too particular about doing any major food safety thing to it, because it's just going to be serving as a riser or a stand. And I just add a little bit more Mod Podge to the areas that needed it. I place the parchment paper on top, and here I am using the heat press. Of course, if you can invest in a heat press, I would say go ahead and do so, because not everything your hot gun would be able to do. So the heat press will do things like this, but I'm loving it. So I'm just using the heat to further secure the napkin on top of the board. Then when I was done with that, I used the nail file and just removed the excess from the edges. And here I'm going over now with additional Mod Podge to just seal everything in. Now I got this pack of silk stencil from Pandahall Select in August. I did an unboxing. You can watch that video right here. And I selected one of the flowers and I'm cutting that out. Now I pasted that down on the board. And I'm going to use some Waverly moss to stencil that on, but before I did that, I applied some Mod Podge to prevent bleeding. And I just pounced on the paint lightly or gently. And then here I am removing it. Love it. Then I took the heat gun and dried that up. Here is where you would need your heat gun, because the heat press wouldn't do that. And then I just added some Mod Podge on top of it to seal it, and I made 2 of them, and this is done. So guys, last check I was at 989 subscribers. I am so close to getting to 1,000. There will be information in my description box below regarding the giveaways, and I am having 2 winners, so make sure you are subscribed to my channel and check the description box for more information on how to enter. So now let's move on to DIY number 4. This is a large wood ornament that I got from Woodpecker's Craft. Yes, I am a Woodpecker's affiliate. My link is in my description box if you are interested. So I painted this 2 coats of white paint, and I left the top undone because I'm going to be wrapping that. This is one of Dollar Tree calendar sheets. I believe it's from the calendar 2021, I think. And here I'm going to be placing that on the ornament, and I'm just applying some Mod Podge using a soft bristle brush. Once I applied that, I'm going to dry it just a little bit. And once it's dried, I'm now going to place the sheet down, and I'm just making sure that the word in the middle is centered with the piece at the top. Once I have that all situated, I'm just using a little more Mod Podge to just put down the edges that need to get down. And then I place a sheet of parchment paper over that, and I'm going to be using the heat press to just reactivate the Mod Podge and get it all glued down properly. And this is my new little BFF. And when I was done, I waited for a few seconds for it to cool a little bit before I started lifting. And then once I got that off, I took the sanding block and just sanded off the little pieces that were hanging off from the edge. I didn't paint the top because I knew I was going to be adding some jute. So I took the jute cord and I'm just going to glue down one end and then start wrapping around. And guys, I can't tell you how long I've had this roll of jute cord that I purchased from Dollar Tree. It's probably over a year and a half now. And it's finally on its way out. And then I wrapped until I had probably about 1/4 of an inch left. And then I just cut a small piece, knotted the ends, and I'm going to glue that down for hanging and then wrap the rest of the jute around that. And now it's all done. Woo, I love it, I love it, I love it. Now this bow I had from another DIY I made last year. I just took that off and I'm gluing that on, and I think it looks so nice on top of this. And then to cover the jute in the middle, I just glued down a piece of or half of a wooden bead that I had from another project. And here I'm just using the lighter to just burn off the little fuzzies from the jute. I eventually cleaned off the back and this is done. Let me know what you think about this ornament. I love it. And now we're on to DIY number 5, or final DIY. Now this is a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that I got from a friend, another crafter, who sent me a box of goodies. I off camera removed the points just to make it look like a pumpkin and not so much like a jack-o'-lantern. And I used some of the glue gun to remove the glitter and sanded it down. And now I'm ready to paint. I used some Waverly white chalk paint and gave that 2 coats. This peace and joy sign came from a Dollar Tree sign from 2 years ago, and I painted it black. Now I don't know why I like to give myself too much work, but I did. I removed the red and painted over that with some black paint off camera. And then to paint in back the snowmans, because I guess by now you should know that it's a snowman that I'm doing. And then to paint back in his hat, I just taped down pieces of tape and then use some of the black chalk paint to paint that in. And then afterwards I use a dry chippy brush and just dry brush along the white to tone it down a little bit because it was too stark. And then I took my pencil and drew in the eyes and his nose. And then painted them black. I painted the eyes black and the nose off camera. I did that in orange, pumpkin orange. And then for the smile, I just used a brush to paint in some black dots in an arch for the mouth. And then I realized that there was something wrong with the hat. Hat was incomplete. So I took my red candy apple and I painted in a stripe. And then for the top part, I painted that black. And then to twinkle the eyes, I took this white chalk pen from Dollar Tree and I just painted or drew and then glued down the peace and the joy, or the joy and the peace. And to dress up my little snowman a little bit, I just thought that he needed some buffalo checks. So I wrapped a piece around under his chin, gave him that bow tie, or not bow tie, tie bow, whatever you want to call it, around the chin. And then to give him a waistband, I wrapped another piece around, but I didn't go all the way around. I just stopped at the side at the back, glued that down. And then I had this little piece that came off one of those googly eyes. I just glued that down in the center for his button or his belt and made a small bow. And I had some boxwood pick. I just snipped off a little piece, 2 small pieces, glued that to the corner of his hat, then glued the bow on top of that, and he's almost done. If you would like to connect with me outside of YouTube, I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, And if you would like to help support my channel, my Buy Me a Coffee link is in my link tree. And in my link tree, you can find all of those social media links. So now for the final reveal, 5 DIYs under $5. Wow. And I love them. I certainly have a few favorites, but let me know which one of these was your favorite today. And don't forget to check out the host channels and the playlist in the description box below. And also, to get me to 1,000 subscribers, please check out the rules in the description box below as well. And if you enjoy budget-friendly content like this, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. That would really help my channel grow. And like, share, and comment down below because I enjoy reading your comments. And to enjoy watching the content, I suggest this video right here or this playlist. And stay safe until next time. Bye!